What if Qui-Gon Jinn followed Dooku to Sidious's lair after the events of Tales of the Jedi and The Phantom Menace? That's what we're going to go over today. I had a lot of fun writing this. Hope you guys enjoyed listening to it, and yeah, let's get right into it.
That's why I'm here.
Our story begins on Naboo as Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi battle the Sith Lord Darth Maul. As the ray shields open, Qui-Gon is finally able to engage Maul once more, and he sees Obi-Wan dive through the final shield as well. So in moments, the both of them are pushing Maul backwards. It's clear that Maul's strategy was to separate them, but his opportunity was now lost. Maul swung at Qui-Gon and tried to stab him in the gut, but before he could, Obi-Wan got in the way, deflecting the strike. This gave Qui-Gon an opportunity to elbow Maul in the head, and he stumbled backwards. Obi-Wan moved in, slicing him in half. And the two Jedi watched as Maul fell into two pieces down the reactor shaft, and with a nod, they began running back to the hangar bay to make sure everyone was alright. Once in the hangar, Anakin was landing his fighter as the astromech R2-D2 was chirping excitedly. Qui-Gon helped Anakin get down and began telling the Jedi that he just blew up the Trade Federation battleship. Qui-Gon was pleasantly surprised, while Obi-Wan said he should have stayed on the ground, but Qui-Gon assured him it was the will of the Force. Eventually, the group would leave Naboo and go back to the Jedi Temple. On the ride over while in hyperspace, Qui-Gon looked out into the blue blur of hyperspace, and he contemplated everything going on. The Sith had returned, and within the same few days he'd found the Chosen One, born to destroy the Sith. But could he trust the Jedi to do what was right? Qui-Gon had so much to consider, but he couldn't really talk to Obi-Wan or anyone on the Council about this. But he could talk to his former master, Dooku. He would be able to guide Qui-Gon down the right path. Qui-Gon was sure of it. So upon landing at the Jedi Temple, Qui-Gon told Obi-Wan to go eat something and wash up while he handles something else, telling Obi-Wan he will call for him when the Council is ready for their report. Qui-Gon moved through the temple, noticing that many of the Jedi were looking at him strangely. Clearly they'd heard the bad news about the Sith, and clearly they still had their doubts about all of it. Soon, Qui-Gon found Master Yaddle, and he asked where Dooku was. Yaddle said she just passed him near the temple hangar. Qui-Gon thanked her and hurried toward the hangar, wondering where Dooku could be off to. But he was too late. Qui-Gon saw a speeder take off, and he could feel in the Force that this was Dooku. But as he felt Dooku in the Force, Qui-Gon also sensed heavy conflict and darkness. Very few would have been able to pick up on this like he could, because Dooku was his master, and Qui-Gon became quite concerned. He considered going back into the temple, finding Yoda and the other Council Masters and alerting them of this. But could he trust them? Qui-Gon remembered how they reacted regarding Anakin and the Sith. So Qui-Gon got into his own speeder and tried to follow Dooku. After a long flight through Coruscant, they came upon the industrial sector, and Qui-Gon landed on a perch, sneaking through the buildings until he looked into the hangar where Dooku landed, and Qui-Gon saw that Dooku was not alone. A hooded man suddenly appeared and began speaking with him. In the hangar, Dooku was telling Sidious that with Maul killed by Qui-Gon on Naboo, perhaps Qui-Gon could make for an excellent ally in their cause. Sidious was unsure. He was unsure that Qui-Gon would turn to the dark at all, telling Dooku that he is more of a threat than an ally. And Sidious's suspicions were confirmed, as suddenly, Qui-Gon appeared at the entrance. With a calm voice, Qui-Gon asked his former master what was going on. Dooku stepped forward, somewhat relieved that Qui-Gon was here. One way or another, this would be resolved. Qui-Gon asked Dooku to step away from the Dark Lord, to come with him back to the temple. But Dooku said that the temple and the Republic are lost. They are far too corrupt to serve the people, and the two of them have seen it with their own eyes, and he is going to do something about it. Qui-Gon said this was all correct, but the dark side is not the way. It is never the way. And Dooku sighed, saying that it is the only way, and he reached out his hand, asking Qui-Gon to please join them. But Qui-Gon ignited his lightsaber, telling Dooku that it is him who once taught Qui-Gon that they choose the light because it is the light, and now he has fallen so far. Dooku said he was sorry it has come to this, and he ignited his own blue saber. The two of them began circling each other, and Sidious smiled with glee. This would be an excellent test for his new apprentice. And suddenly their blades met with a clash, each strike resonating with the weight of their conflicting ideologies. Qui-Gon pressed forward, while Dooku parried and dodged with one hand. Dooku taught Qui-Gon for years, and he was perhaps the best swordsman in the galaxy, but Qui-Gon was strong enough to hold his own. The fight raged on, with Qui-Gon using his mastery of Form 4, neither giving ground nor relenting in their assault. Each exchange pushed them to the limit of their abilities, testing their resolve and their commitment to their paths. Dooku, using Form 2, soon had the advantage. He was able to cut through Qui-Gon's lightsaber, kicking his former Padawan to the ground, then holding his saber to Qui-Gon's neck, telling him to surrender. But from the back of the room, Sidious said, "Good, Dooku, good. Kill him. Kill him now," with a smile. Dooku hesitated, saying, "Master, and Sidious barked, "Do it." But Dooku couldn't. He was staring into the eyes of his Padawan, his disappointed, heartbroken Padawan. Dooku deignited his saber, and was suddenly engulfed by lightning, slammed against his own ship, leaving a dent in it. Dooku felt immense pain from this, and he looked up to see lightning spray from Sidious's hands, covering Qui-Gon now. Qui-Gon was weak from the fight, and Sidious was using all of his power, trying to kill him right now. Sidious screamed out that Dooku was weak, and that a true Sith would never hesitate to do what is necessary. Sidious screamed, shooting more lightning, and Dooku watched as Qui-Gon convulsed on the ground. Dooku remembered all of the sacrifices he's made in the last year or so, but now as he was seeing what his dark side work was doing to his own Padawan, it was as if a sense of clarity washed over him. Qui-Gon was right. The dark side was not the way. Dooku trusted this Sith Lord, who truly had no mercy, to bring peace to the Republic? No, he would only bring more pain. Dooku called his lightsaber back to his hand, and with a swift swing of realization, he cut through Sidious's hands, then spun and cut off his head. The Sith Lord was dead. He was too focused on shooting lightning at Qui-Gon to ever realize the danger was his own new apprentice. Dooku turned back to Qui-Gon, but perhaps he was too late. Qui-Gon was terribly burned, and Dooku lifted him up, saying they must get back to the temple. Qui-Gon put his hand on Dooku's heart, telling him it is too late, but he knows there is still good in him. Qui-Gon asked Dooku to train Anakin Skywalker, thinking it would be great for the both of them, and Qui-Gon said he will always be around, before succumbing to his injuries and dying. And Dooku was left alone, his Sith Master and Jedi Padawan both dead in the room, and he felt anger deep inside of him. Anger at the Jedi, the Sith, the Republic, the galaxy, but mostly anger at himself. And Dooku saw now that he was taking the easy path out by joining the Sith. The Jedi were truly lost, but perhaps it should be up to him to help reform them. And so Dooku grabbed Qui-Gon's body and took off for the temple. Inside the temple, a council meeting was going on to discuss the events on Naboo, when the door suddenly swung open. Master Dooku entered, carrying the body of Qui-Gon Jinn, and Dooku placed him down in the middle. Dooku looked to every single member, and he said that the Jedi Order has become stale, complacent, and arrogant in their own ways. They let the Sith rise underneath them, and now it has cost the life of Master Qui-Gon. Dooku said that he and Qui-Gon found the Sith Master in the industrial sector, and now he is dead, and the Sith Lord was Chancellor Palpatine. Gasps of shock and disbelief filled the room, and Yoda said that proof of this is needed. But seconds later, the door swung open again, and a group of temple guards entered, with Palpatine's head and his body. Dooku sent them to retrieve it, upon his return. And now the council saw the truth. They let the Sith rise directly under their noses, and it is time for a change. Had Dooku not taken this path, it is unlikely the Jedi would have ever seen their mistakes, at least not until it was far too late. A terrible example like this needed to be made, and as Dooku looked around, he decided he too had enough lying, and so he admitted that he was working with the Sith. He'd seen the corruption, the laziness, and the inability for the Jedi Order and the Republic to protect its people, so he took things into his own hands. Dooku admitted that he took the wrong path, and in the end he thinks he did what was right, killing the Sith, but he truly didn't see any other way. And he told the Jedi about the clone army, saying that perhaps the Jedi can separate themselves from the Republic and give them this army. Dooku said that the Sith may be dead, but for as long as the Jedi stay arrogant, darkness will rise again, and they must be ready. The council was angry at Dooku, but they let him leave. They knew he was right about basically everything, and as Dooku walked through the temple, he found Obi-Wan and Anakin in the room of 1,000 fountains. Anakin was admiring it, and Dooku introduced himself, asking for a word. In a secluded room, Dooku would tell Anakin and Obi-Wan that Qui Gon was just killed by the Sith Master, but his sacrifice may have saved the galaxy. Obi-Wan was heartbroken from this, and Dooku allowed him to grieve alone, then took Anakin and said he would be his new master. From here, the Republic would learn that they allowed a Sith Lord to become Chancellor, violating laws from the old Republic. And in a new election, the Senate would elect Senator Bail Antilles of Alderaan. Throughout his political life, Antilles ran largely on combating corruption and limiting battle droids for the Trade Federation. He wasn't elected the last time largely because of corruption, but now, seeing that the Senate allowed a Sith Lord, they elected the man they thought best for the job. And so over the next couple of years, the Republic would see improvements and begin working with the Jedi on more than just protecting the senators. Anakin and Dooku would train together, and Dooku did prove to be an excellent master for young Skywalker, teaching him how to use his emotions for good, rather than hiding them away. Anakin's first mission as a Jedi would be on Tatooine, where him and Dooku would lead the operation for ending slavery in the Outer Rim. This was long overdue, and it would result in many skirmishes in the Outer Rim over the next few years, but it was a necessary act. Anakin would get to free his mother, and she would lead a council on Tatooine for former slaves looking for real work and homes. The Jedi began to re-establish themselves in the Outer Rim, and Plo Koon would become the sort of Grand Master of the Outer Rim Jedi, as their influence spread throughout the galaxy. Obi-Wan would travel with Plo Koon as well, and be sort of an apprentice to take over once Plo Koon passed on. Once Anakin was around 18 years old, the Outer Rim had seen slavery become completely eradicated, and the crime families were largely split up, fighting amongst each other for power. Back when Sidious died and Dooku revealed the truth to the Jedi, he did say that darkness would rise again, and he was right. In the depths of the galaxy, a Sith Lord by the name of Darth Venomous had been planning for his return. Many years ago, he confronted Darth Plagueis, and he was beaten, tortured, and experimented on, all in the hopes of Plagueis learning to influence midichlorians to become immortal. Of course it didn't work, and eventually both Plagueis and Sidious were dead, allowing Venomous to heal and escape over many years. And for the last 5 years or so, Venomous would try building a Sith army. He had a list of Force users from Plagueis' secret lair, and he would find them, teach them to use their anger, their darkness to become powerful. Venomous would soon have around 100 Darkside users gathered on Malachor, as he was getting rid of the rule of 2. He even had brought Maul here, saving him from the lowest parts of the galaxy. But unfortunately, before Venomous's plans could ever truly be put into place, civil war among the Sith would break out. There would be a huge battle, where Maul led around half of these Sith against Venomous and his half, as both were fighting for control. This civil war would last for around a year, until only Venomous and Maul remained, and the two of them came to realize why the rule of 2 was put into place. The Sith simply couldn't help but fight amongst each other. So the two of them worked together, and began scheming how to take down the Jedi with just the two of them. But the Jedi Order, no longer blind to the dark side, would seek out these Sith. Eventually, Dooku and Anakin would be the ones to find them, and Anakin, now a 21-year-old powerful Jedi, would find and confront the Sith on Malachor. Dooku would fight and kill Maul, while Anakin would kill Venomous, fulfilling his prophecy of the Chosen One. The two of them would form a very strong bond, as they had over the years, and it would only continue to grow, as Anakin was now strong with control over his powers and his emotions. He would sometimes think of Padme, and the two of them would even talk sometimes, and maybe even more than talk once in a while, but ultimately they would decide that they were just better off as friends. At 22 years old, Anakin would become a Jedi Knight, while Padme Amidala would become the youngest Supreme Chancellor ever, with the retiring of Chancellor Antilles. For many years, the galaxy would see peace, with any skirmishes or darkness being handled by the reformed Jedi Order. Plo Koon and Obi-Wan in the Outer Rim were masters, and they were leading that unit very, very well. Around 10 years later, Anakin would become a Jedi Master on the Council. Dooku would pass on and become a Force Ghost, as him and Qui Gon would continue to guide the Jedi from the dead, along with Yoda, who soon passed as well. And folks, that is our story. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I really enjoyed this kind of different path, where we do have one kind of main event, but it takes place in the beginning. usually we have a lot of build up just to the big battle against Palpatine at the end. But I like the kind of concept of taking the story and having something big happen at the beginning, and the rest of the story is just kind of, what happens in the aftermath. Of course, I did want to have a sort of conflict, but it's the Sith trying to rise back up again. Unfortunately, with the Jedi being at the height of their power and the Sith not really having a great leader like Palpatine, and just trying to get past the rule of two, it all falls apart. I like that idea. Venomous was trained by Darth Tenebrous, just like Plagueis, Tenebrous, Venomous, bars. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you thought of that concept. The Sith going to civil war, the Jedi being able to rebuild, freeing slavery, ending slavery, I should say. Dooku not actually being punished by the Jedi. Maybe I should have done more where Dooku gets punished by the Jedi, but at the end of the day, Dooku, was kind of right. Anyways, appreciate you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure to check out the link in the description to become a member, where you'll be eligible for exclusive videos, giveaways, polls, all that sort of stuff. So, thanks for watching. Appreciate you. And I'll see you in the next video.